Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. When Jesus looked up, he saw some wealthy people putting their offerings into the treasury, and he noticed a poor widow putting in 2 small coins. He said, "I tell you truly, this poor widow put in more than all the rest, for those others have all made offerings from their surplus wealth, but she from her poverty has offered her whole livelihood." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So today we continue reading through the book of Revelation, and we arrive to chapter 14, and we skipped over some important chapters between last week and this week. Some of the most famous chapters, right? The chapters 12 and 13 are when we learn about the beasts, right? And the red dragon, and the number 666. Right? So basically the context of the book of Revelation, as we've been saying, is that there's many different layers to it. And last week we left off talking about the heavenly liturgy, and then the book of Revelation kind of pivots and it starts to talk about the events that have taken place in the Paschal mystery. And so chapter 12 opens up with the vision of the woman who is Mary, and also Israel and the church, and it talks about the birth of Jesus, and it says that when she was getting ready to give birth, there was a red dragon who was trying to devour the offspring. And the red dragon was most likely King Herod. King Herod was an Edomite, and in Hebrew the word for Edom is literally red, right? So the red dragon, right? And then this red dragon is basically defeated by St. Michael, and there's war in heaven, and then there's 2 other beasts that appear. There's a beast from the sea, and then a beast from the land. The beast from the sea comes from the imagery of the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel talks about the beasts that will arise, right, to persecute God's people. And the beast from the sea in particular, right, the sea in the ancient Jewish mindset was basically representing all of the Gentile nations of the world. So this beast from the sea, right, represents the Roman Empire, right, and specifically the Emperor Nero. The name of the beast, the number is 666. Right? In Hebrew, that adds up to Nero's name, right, in Hebrew. And we also know that Nero was a very beastly kind of a man. He's maybe the most violent and wicked emperor in Roman history. He killed his mother. He made a horse a member of the Senate. He used to have Christians go into the Colosseum, and he would dress up as a beast, right? And he would violate his victims. And so the beast from the sea represents Nero. And then there's a beast from the land. And the beast from the land represents the corruption within Israel itself. It says that it looks like a lamb but speaks like a dragon. It symbolizes the corruption in the religious establishment in Jerusalem. Right? So there's these three beasts that are at work. Right? There's King Herod, there's the Emperor Nero, and then there's the corruption in the religious establishment. Right? All of these things represent things from the first century. But as we've been talking about, as we've been reading through this book of Revelation, is that there's always multiple layers and meanings. Because King Herod, although he was the manifestation of the dragon, right, in the days of Jesus' birth, in every age, there is an evil force at work that tries to destroy God's people and the ones that he has sent. In every age, there is a beast from the sea. There's always going to be these kinds of persecution that come from the nations or from the civil authorities. And the beast from the land, even though it represented the corrupt religious establishment in some day, there's always going to be division and corruption within the church, within God's people. More than anywhere else, the devil wants to corrupt from within. And so he's always going to be trying to attack the church. And so these are always at work in every age. And then, of course, we arrive to chapter 14, which we heard of today. Right? So after these beasts and the dragon rise up, then we start to see the opposing army gather. And this is a figurative language describing the people of God being gathered together in Mount Zion. It's an image of all the saints, all the holy ones, all who have arrived in heaven, right? They're gathering in the heavenly Mount Zion, and they're preparing to do war alongside of Christ and the woman, the church. And this is all building up to the climax of this battle, which will come in Revelation 16, the great battle of Armageddon, which we've already said, even though it had a specific reference in history to Christ's crucifixion in the hour of darkness. Armageddon, in a mystical sense, is always at work in the world. There's always the battle between good and evil, the beasts and the army of the Lamb, right? The holy saints of God. There's always a struggle in every age. And our prayer is that we always remain in the army of Christ, and we don't succumb to temptations to abandon his side when the going gets tough.